I'm Bill Street with a word on discipleship, and our word this month is obedience. Dana and I are on vacation at St. Simon's Island, Georgia. Being on this beach reminds me of a familiar passage, the words of Jesus at the end of the Sermon on the Mount. Jesus said, "Therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine and acts on them may be compared to a wise man who built his house on the rock, and the rain fell, and the floods came, and the winds blew and slammed against that house, and yet it did not fall, for it had been founded on the rock. And everyone who hears these words of mine and does not act on them will be like a foolish man who built his house on the sand. And the rain fell, and the floods came, and the winds blew and slammed against that house, and it fell, and great was its fall." Building anything other than a sandcastle on this shifting sand is foolish. I'm not a structural engineer, but I know, and we all know, building anything on sand is just a waste of good resources. What is the solid foundation that we build a life and a ministry of disciple making on? It is obedience to the Word of God. Without obedience, you don't have a foundation to minister from. It may look good, it may be impressive for a while, but it will fall. Our 3-year-old grandson, Silas, spent a couple of days with us recently. In the middle of the day, he will sometimes lay down and rest, and he really rests so that he can watch the Disney movie, Dumbo the Elephant. On one particular day, after a period of resting, Dana needed to get him up, and when she went to him, he immediately closed his eyes and with a huge grin on his face, acted like he was sleeping. Dana laughed and told him, "Faker." Well, he giggled and laughed and then opened his eyes. Well, we can pretend that we are obeying, but God knows, and one day people will know that we are really faking it. Our only hope of building a life that counts is by not being a faker, but by being a person who obeys. I'm going to make a statement that I hope I've said it so many times that not only can you repeat it, but the truth of it is working its way into your heart. You teach what you know, you reproduce what you are. A message prepared in a mind reaches a mind, a message prepared in a heart reaches a heart, but a message prepared in a life reaches a life. In his book, The Conviction to Lead, Al Mohler makes this statement: without conviction, nothing really matters, and nothing of significance is passed on. Some leadership doesn't impact others because leaders don't really have conviction. Why? Because in their hearts and in their souls, they know that they have compromised, they have given in, they haven't obeyed. Where there has been compromise in the heart, there cannot be conviction in the life. Why? Because we know that we have compromised and the words, the truth rings hollow. Obedience. Multiplying disciple makers is not an option, it is obedience.